Francis Ranstrom. I quit skiing here because of Francis.
Well, Francis was my neighbor. Remember one time we kicked a football in his backyard and I crawled over the fence and he'd come out of the house and told me to get the hell out of his yard. So we came back and showed him the wrong side of an egg, I guess. A few of them we threw at his house, but he was an ornery dog, that's for sure. He used to have an intercom up here, and if he didn't like how you were skiing, he'd let you know. And if you didn't listen to him, you went home. He didn't put up any guff. He was an ornery dog, for sure.
Well, probably got quite a few. I know one of his favorite sayings was, "I don't mean just no, I mean hell no." and I remember him shutting the lift off until somebody would get out of the lift line. He'd say, "Jackie Davis, I told you you're not skiing anymore today, and this lift isn't running till you leave," or somebody like that. Yeah.
I quit skiing here because of Francis. I mean, he never groomed the slopes, and I mean, it was terrible. But yeah, I have a Francis story. Homer Siemens worked for Amcor, and they did precast concrete materials. And anyway, I bid on building this building here, and I was the low bidder. And it was a very pleasant job. But, and I worked with Francis. He was building another tower, control tower. He didn't have me do that, but it was, you know, working with him was okay. But he sure didn't run a very good ski area.
Oh yeah, lots of Francis stories.
Any that you want to tell in particular?
Oh, a couple. We used to stand in line, and there's a concrete tower, and there was a glassed over window, what you couldn't see if he was watching you, and you'd see someone do something in the line, and there was one guy, one of my friends, who, hello John, was in particular, that was always screwing around, and he opened the window, scream at him to get out of line. If they didn't get out of line, he shut the lift down, and he got out of line, you know, never come back to my area, but eventually they came back, and he used to go fishing in the summer up on the Campbell River in Canada, and the big salmon he had in the bar downstairs, and we always threatened to steal that mount that he had and put a sardine up there, but we never got around to it. And then one time he had a heart attack down there, and we were fortunate enough to be around and took care of him. And so then I've got some other Francis stories, but good man, he put a lot into the area as well. You know, the progression that we've had in owners have been good. They've been good managers.
So I've had my lift ticket torn off more times than that by old Francis. You know, trying to get in the lift line or holding on to the palma too long.
So they used to make you go to the back of the line?
Oh, absolutely. Oh yeah, he was the ruler. He was the king. He owned the mountain, man.
Oh, yeah. He was. Well, he ran it, and he ran a good operation, and he made money, and everyone hated him. But he was basically a good guy, and he ran a good hill.
Yeah, probably the one I remember the most talked about is when Francis bought a snowcat. And it was rumored that he'd gotten drunk, right? And took the cat up above and scared the living hell out of himself, and he never ever ran the cat after that.
Oh, he never changed the tape in the music he played when the lift was running. I don't know how many times I heard some of those songs, but yeah, I don't know. Hey, you know, he was here. He was keeping the place open and keeping it running. You know, that's gotta give him credit for that. You know, I got along with him. I was happy to have a facility like this to use.
There's one unique incident I remember that was quite interesting. One bright sunny day, when the old control tower, we call it the Ivory Tower, Francis Ranstrom was sitting up there running the lift, and the line was quite long, and lo and behold, here comes a teenage skier walking down the hill. He had a live porcupine in his arms. And of course, he walked up to the crowd, and everyone said, you know, they panicked, you know, and the window flies open. Francis stuck his head out the window and started to cuss the kid, get that thing out of here. You know, it just really caused quite a commotion, which was, this was a very unusual situation. So the kid put the porcupine down, and of course the crowd is just in awe, you know, and it waddled off down the canyon.
Yeah. Now, you've probably heard this one a number of times today, so tell me if you've heard it. But one day, Francis and the ski school director got crossways with each other. And at that time, there was a ski school picture hanging here in the lodge, like you see with the ski patrol up here, with all the ski instructors' pictures on it. And Francis was so angry that he came in and took that picture off the wall. And there used to be an old single outhouse over here on the edge of the run. And he took a hammer and a nail and he hung the picture of the ski school up there in the outhouse. So that was Francis.
Yeah, my favorite is with Francis Ranstrom, always kicking us out of the lift line, sending us to the end if we tried to cheat, or if we fell off, we'd have to go to the end of the line. But my favorite is when we cut our skis in half because our skis were too long, and me and my buddy Pat mounted the bindings, and we had the very first short skis that ever existed, 1956. And Francis tore our lift tickets off because he said our skis were too short.
I was the ski patrol director for a while under when Francis was here, and Francis was one of a kind. He was a big-hearted guy with a really, really gruff exterior, and you just had to deal with Francis. Yeah, we crossed swords a couple of times, but both of us survived.